Hey, we'll let you start off today.
Well, how are you today? Looks like you're in a good mood. New signing, correct?
Buongiorno. Yeah, how can't you be when you are with the local media? I love you guys, so I'm looking forward to see.
Nice, nice, awesome. I just wanted maybe you could start off your thoughts with. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his name, so could you give us how the pronunciation of
No
Brecht?
idea. Brecht. We call him Brecht because I tried a couple of times to adventure myself in calling the Jaguar, and this is the one you're talking about, right? So
Yes.
to go on a tangent.
Unless you want to tell us about other ones that you're working on.
No, I mean that would be great. If you know, you probably know more than me. I can tell you that. But I tried a couple of times to mention his surname, Thomas Scharling, which is the Dutch scout. He said to me, Chris, if we sign him, I need to do a special course how to pronounce his name. So I wouldn't until Thomas does this special course to me. I call him Brecht.
Okay, nice. Well, maybe your thoughts on Brecht and what he can bring to this team.
Brecht is a player that has experience and he has certain qualities that I like in a player. So he's a midfielder that likes to play between the lines. He's dynamic. He has that ability to make an assist as well, to assist players as well as creating danger in the last third. I have followed him lately when he was playing for Toulouse in France, because I still follow the leagues in which I worked. And I've seen them doing well. They actually won the Coupe de France, which is the local cup, like the US Open Cup, French version, and he was an integral part of that. So I think he's he will add a lot from that point of view. He's also, what impressed me talking with him is that he studied our games. He was telling me how we were playing, and he told me that this is normal for him because he had the 2 or 3 clubs after him, and he likes to dig in deeply into where he's going, which I think is very good. And this is another thing that I liked about him. He has a lot of enthusiasm for Charlotte and for MLS. He's not a guy that is coming because, he just we offer more money than somebody else. Actually, it wasn't the case. It was a case of, for him, is to look at the full package. Obviously, they are professional players and they need to look also at the financial side of the deal. But as well as that, he's very keen and very knowledgeable also the way we play. He's watching games, he calls me, and he shares the opinion of how we saw the game. So this is always a great sign. I had the same with Ashley. I had the same with Scott. And to have guys like that, it's something that can help Charlotte FC to build in the right direction, in the right way.
Nice. Speaking of that, out of your last 5 signings, 4 of them have been over 33 years old, 3 of them being free transfers. I know you've mentioned in the past that, this team required some leadership. I kind of want your thought process behind maybe getting players of this age that some may say are nearing towards the end of their career. What is the thought process behind that?
No, it's a good question, Jorge. And I normally give the scouting department the characteristics of the players I want. I don't necessarily choose the name of the player, because I think in everybody has to have his own area of responsibility. My responsibility is to coach the team and to give the players, to give the direction from the style of play that we want to implement to the club. Then after, we need to have the right characteristics, and then after, it's up to the front office to come with the players that they can acquire. So it's not necessarily, then I can say yes or no about certain names. And so it's more complex or easier, if you like, Then, so I didn't indicate that I wanted specifically this profile or this age. If they come with a guy that is 22 years old and that's got the right characteristics, fine by me. And I think there is an element that we need to also look and for younger players in general. But there was the possibility, and we needed to get players, because I told you that we needed minimum of 3 players to be competitive in because everybody is strengthening. So if you don't, there is no such a thing, or in general, in my opinion, in life, of standing still. If you don't go forward, you go backwards. So it's not because we add 1 or 2 players that we are necessarily, you know, going ahead of the pack, because everybody is strengthening. Everybody say, yesterday I was looking at the game, Chicago playing against Montreal, and they added Opoku, which was a very important player for LAFC that won the league. So everybody is strengthening the squad, and we, in order to stay competitive to our objective in this season, that we want to compete to arrive into the playoff, we needed a minimum 3 players, in my opinion. We need help in certain areas.
Nice. And then last one from me. Like you mentioned, Montreal's coming off of a 3-0 loss. They're right around Charlotte as well. You know, Charlotte with kind of 7 winless so far. Does this game Saturday feel like a must win for you guys, given that there'll be a big pause for Leagues Cup, or are you just taking it as another game?
I don't know. The way you put it, like it's a must-win game, it's just another game. Every game is important for us, Jorge, and we need to. I focus in our development and in giving our best and to play the best game that we can. You also put it is 7 winless streak, but we are. I can say at the same time we are unbeaten in the last 5 games. So there is always a different way of looking. I'm focused on us, and I know that every game is a different one, because they took off Wanyama after 45. They probably already were thinking of our game after the first half. You know, there is an element of me thinking of that. So I think that you always have to be focused on the next game at your best, without thinking what they have done in the previous game, thinking it's going to be very difficult or very easy. We have to focus on each game. That is very, very important for us. The next game is the most important one. So our focus, our energy, our preparation has to be like the next game is the most important one always.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Carol?
We're going to the bossy lady, apparently. Just wanted to check on DJ and how he's doing.
Yeah, fine. DJ, I just saw him coming here this morning. He finished his rehab session. I think we will have to wait still a little bit of time. It's not that bad, but unfortunately we will not have him for the next few games, which is annoying. But as I said many times, and I stand by what I said, we need to focus on the players that we have that will represent us in the best possible way. So I think he's fine. He's in a good mood. I saw him well. He looks good, and he was smiling, and he will do everything that he can together with the performance department to get back as soon as possible. We need him, and he's an important player for us.
I know there's a lot of emphasis on needs on the defensive line there, but I'm wondering, as a coach, can you ever have enough talented midfielders?
No. No, especially the way I like football. I love to have my midfielders. I love to have midfielders that can play. I like to have everybody that can play, starting from the goalkeeper. So the midfielders for me are key in the way we want to play, the way I would like us to play, both offensively and defensively. And so, but we need help also in different areas. I don't want to go too much into that. The front office is very aware of my request. They have been clear since last season, so they know exactly my view, and you know, I have to trust that they will produce and come with what the team really needs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carol. Willie P.
Morning, Christian. How are you?
Good morning, Will. Very well, thanks. I hope you are well too.
I am. So with Derek down, are Adilson and Enzo both still unavailable for Saturday?
Yeah, they're gonna.
So in terms of your back line, are you guys planning on maybe bringing somebody up from Legacy to at least have a reinforcement off the bench, or will you plan on maybe just having Nathan, because I know he can play that position too?
First of all, we still have got our players. We have Jan Sobocinski, we have Guzman. So, and the legacy players, we always have them with us. The Patrick is with us, Brandon is with us, Amadi Diop is with us, and Andrew Privet is with us. So it's nothing new. I've been using them, not in the bad way, but using them meaning we needed them in the squad. They're doing really well. In my opinion, they improve a lot by being with the first team. And you can tell also when they go and play for Legacy now, the performance of Patrick, of Brandon, of Chris Egert when he goes, of Amadi. I think that Andrew Privet, I think that you can tell that they benefit to train with the first team. And I can see them improving on a weekly basis. So, yeah, in the past, I have David Poreba, Mayaka coming with us. And I will keep looking at them. At the moment, we still have got a number of players. Like you say, Nathan Byrne can play in that position, but we have other players that can help us. We are not in the ideal situation because Adil is an important player for us. We have DJ that is an important player for us, but I also trust the players that they are available in the squad. They train well, and in the end, it's up to them to perform on the pitch when they are given the opportunity.
What did you make of Carroll kind of stepping up right away with those 2 goals, knowing he had to at least take a lot of the brunt of the offensive responsibility in Enzo's absence? I know that people focused on the ones he didn't make in the second half, but what did it mean to have him kind of set the tone last weekend?
Yeah, but listen, Carroll is an international player, so he can play that role, and I think that when the team scores, Carroll put the ice on the cake, but the icing on the cake. But it's the team that create the chances, and he's there. He's good as a finisher. He can finish. We know that, and that's why people were maybe surprised in the second half. But I thought in the second half he was getting tired. It was in my mind to change him before, but unfortunately, I couldn't. I didn't want to take that risk because we had to change already. We had 3 moments of changes, and then I thought that we used one with DJ in the first half. Then I changed the wingers with because I was thinking that we needed something more after we conceded the 2-1. And then after I had a look at Carroll. He looked tired to me, but he can always be dangerous. But he looked tired to me, and I wanted to put Patrick. But because of what happened with Guzman, I didn't want to fall into the trap that we changed that, and then Guzman has to come out because he's still, regaining his full. As I said to you many times in the past, we have to build Guzman to where he was before. Can't expect coming from 9th-month injury and being on day 1 the same Guzman that he was when he was playing every game. So that I didn't want to run the risk to finish with 10 men ourselves. And we can see even yesterday, Cincinnati is a team that now plays with a lot of confidence. And even when they look like that there is nothing that they can come out with, that they come out with a winner in the last second because it's a team that plays on this kind of confidence that they have. So I thought that Carroll was getting tired because he played 90 minutes anyway, but I'm not surprised that he produced straight away because he has done it in the past. And if the team works well, he's able to finish chances.
Last one for me. You mentioned that there are always kind of different ways of looking things, you know, whether it's 5 games without a defeat or 7 games without a victory. How would you assess this team with the amount of games you have left in terms of trying to be sure that they're carrying out everything you want to have happen? Because I know you've said at times, you know, sometimes the defensive structure in the second half isn't what you want to see, et cetera, and so on. How do you feel like they're carrying out your game plan through this point of the season?
I think that, in my opinion, as a team, we are improving. We are moving forward. Even if you look at the young players, I think individually, many players are improving. If you look also the progress that, just to mention what Carol asked about DJ, how DJ is coming on as a player tactically and the way he plays with personality, I think we can see progress. What we need to improve is to play a more complete game with the same energy, to stay high for longer period on the pitch, and that come with time, that come with you know, to introduce also certain key players at the moment. That's why it's important to bring players with the right characteristics that can help the team and the squad. But when I look at, I focus more on performance. I know that we are in the result game. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, the result is important. I understand that, and especially my position, like every coach position, is linked to results. I am very aware of that. But also, for me, the most important thing is to look at the performance, how we play, and which kind of areas we need to improve in order to perform consistently better. Because when you perform well, you have many more chances of getting the result that you want. For me, the result is a consequence of the performance. If we just focus on the result, first of all, we focus on something that we can't always control. Sometimes you deserve to win and you lose, and then you think it was a bad performance, or vice versa. And so my focus is still on performance. And then after the result, I know will determine my fate, like for every coach. But until I'm in charge, I want to make sure that we focus on the things that we can control. And my main objective is to see our team to play as good as we can for as long as we can. And in that area, we have got still, you know, some progress to make.
Thank you. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Right. Thanks, Will. Mike.
Turn my camera on so that Christian knows it's actually me and not a spy from Montreal. Christian, with the acquisition of Brecht and Art, say again.
I think your voice is pretty, you know, I can recognize your voice quite well, but
that's fair. That's fair. With the acquisitions of Arfield and Brecht, you know, and Jorge talked about their age being guys that are 30 plus, but Scott talked about it yesterday that one of his skills is being one of those late arrivers on the attack, and I'm not so sure that Brecht is not the same way. Maybe you can answer that part of it, but I mean, is that something you were looking for was that one of the characteristics you talked to the sporting director and the department about when you talked about bringing in 3 new players, you know, 3 players to help you out?
In that position, a characteristic, Mike, just to talk about Scott and Brecht, because these are our players, so I can talk about them rather than players that we don't have. For me, it's important to have midfielders that they like to play with the ball, so and they can play in tight spaces and they can arrive in the box to contribute to score goals and to create chances. But at the same time, they have to be dynamic and they have to be able to work for the team if we want to play high on the pitch and to put pressure on the opposition. So we can't have, so to speak, luxury players that they are good on the ball, and then after, when the opposition has the ball, we leave them just to roam onto the pitch. This is not the way I see football. So even if they have a certain age, they are for me, they are players that they've got still a certain dynamism. Brecht is the same. If you look, he played many games for Toulouse, and he's always a player that if you look at his games, he's running stats. And the first thing that he wanted when he knew that he was coming here, he wanted to have straight away a fitness program because he wants it to work. And from people that I know in France, they always tell me how he's one of the most fanatic in terms of keeping himself fit and running, as well as the technical abilities that he has when he plays higher on the pitch. So the very simply, the quality I want in midfielder is to have quality in their position and intensity with and without the ball. And I think Brecht and Scott can bring us that, even though they are not 20 anymore, but they are still in modern football. I think 32, 33 is not what it used to be. 32, 33, with all due respect, in the 80s, because of many different reasons. Not because they were less fit, because there was less technology, less stuff around, and so there was a little bit less knowledge and less attention to details that nowadays become common. And you see how players, for example, even a player like Benzema can win the Ballon d'Or at his age because he keeps himself fit and when he's fighting against some of the best players in the world. So that is true also for our boys.
And understanding that I wasn't trying to imply that 30 plus was old. In the 70s,
Well,
it
me
was.
and you, Mike. I mean,
we're ancient. The two of us are dinosaurs. But with those guys being in their 30s and being, you know, in exceptionally great shape, they also provide you maybe some more experience on field. I mean, would you like the term on-field coach to help some of the young guys to kind of learn some of the tricks of the trade and kind of bring them along in their development?
To a certain degree, yes, but rather than to be coaches, because I want, it's not because I don't want them to be, because I think it's our responsibility, mine and the coaching staff, to do that job. They don't have to do our job. But by the way they train, by the way, if you look at, for example, Scott training, Ashley training, you can see that these are guys that they are really, really professional. And so don't forget that together with them, we've got guys like the one I mentioned before, Brandon Cambridge, Patrick Aguemang, and we've got Chris Eggert and Ben Bender. We have Andrew Privet. We have got a number of very young players. And to look at them, to look at the way they play, the way they train, it's an education for them. So they can see not just the coach or the coaching staff talking about certain things, but actually the fellow players actually put it on the pitch, what we actually tell them. And my idea is also to develop in the best possible way the young players and the young talents that we have at the club. And so to have them as understudied of players, that's why I don't agree, and that I never want luxury players that can come here to show a couple of skills in training and train 50%. For me, this is not good enough. They have to come here and they have to train harder and they do because it's the way they are. And we have to look at those players also for those characteristics.
Okay, my last one for you, by request.
It looks like you feel obliged now to do that.
No. I see, that's the thing, though. I'm trying to find the best way to do it, Christian. And because I mean, there's a lot of layups out there. There's a lot of softballs out there. But when it comes to directors, I need to know your favorite film by the wonderful director Martin Scorsese. Not an easy. I wanted to give you a real easy one to start because he's only done a couple of films.
I don't know. Listen, I don't want to be to make like a bad because I know he had many movies. One movie, because it reminds and I hope it was directed by Martin Scorsese. I'm not sure it was. Was it Serpico directed by him or not? With Al Pacino.
Stand by. I'm efforting. I don't remember. You're the no. That was
Because you know
actually
my childhood. That's why I like it.
Oh, yeah. That was Sydney Lumet.
Sidney Lumet. Okay, okay. It
Yeah.
was somebody else. Because I don't know why, but I associated with him. So I don't want Martin Scorsese was he I don't know. Did he make Goodfellas?
Now that one I think is right.
Yeah.
I think that one's right. Hang on a second.
That one I liked. That one I liked because it's about it's there are some of my favorite characters when they play the mafia guys, the De Niro, the Joe Pesci, and I thought even Ray Liotta, I thought it was a movie that I really enjoyed. So I would go with that one.
That was there's a clip out there you should look into about how was it, I can't remember that was yeah, it was Goodfellas. Where he spots De Niro, the way De Niro kind of looks into the camera and he tells his assistant write down the word cream because he was thinking about the music to go with that shot at the time it was being shot. There's a video out there. You should look it up or have Woody find it for you because it's pretty spectacular to think how his mind works. So, thank you, Christian. Best of luck this weekend. Yep, we will talk soon.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, guys.